The skills gap is a problem at the moment, and a big problem, because we're not doing anything to address it or anything that's actually going to have an impact in practical terms. We're still doing the same thing over and over. We're still asking for the same certifications, the same pieces of paper, focusing on purely skills and technology skills rather than actually looking at the underlying values and characteristics of the type of people we should be employing. Certainly as security budgets are getting larger and security influence over projects becomes greater, there's inevitably going to be a much greater drain on the standard view of what resources are there. It's always going to get more and more difficult if we continue to do the same thing. It was fine maybe 10 years ago, especially when there were fewer certifications or there was less emphasis on it, but now I think it's become a real problem. Not only is the pool reducing and not only are the demands increasing, but the actual barriers for entry are getting worse as well, or getting much, much tougher. They keep getting added to. The recruitment industry in security has become so blind to actually what are the strategic aims of the organisation, the team, what are the actual goals and purposes of the individual, that it just becomes a mass of jumbled letters. Where we lack, however, is the skills of actually being an effective employee. So the values of that person, the ability to integrate into a team, the ability to inspire others and themselves, the ability to, or the passion, the acquisition of, the passion for the acquisition of knowledge, for instance. I think that's where we're lacking, because we're purely looking at the pieces of paper. It goes back to the 2000s when the MCSE was being touted as you must have this. So everybody went and got an MCSE, whether they were suited to that particular role or not. I think what it is people have to take a little leap of faith. Actually, you can employ people and inspire and motivate them rather than just expect them to, wind them up and set them off and do the job. If you're going to take an exclusive approach to your hiring, you're going to have a smaller pool of people to look at. So if you're just going to look at, people who have the qualifications, that's probably 10% of the pool that you could draw from, potentially. Now, there's nothing wrong with that per se. Sometimes we need to have people who are experienced, who are going to bring new ideas, etc., hit the ground running. But the other roles, they actually can be filled by people who will actually grow into that role over a slightly longer period of time, but will bring far more to it, completely different viewpoints. So I think, by taking that kind of hybrid approach, we can not only address the short-term issue, it will emphasise our ability to be more inclusive. Every time I've taken a chance like this, it's worked.